Hello, everyone. Today we're going to discuss Hegel, and the subject is actual reality. With that, I'll turn the subject to my grandson, Tristan. Go ahead, Tristan.
All right, thank you. So as my grandfather just said, today we're going to be continuing our series on Hegel by talking about Hegel's views on actual reality. Now, if you're familiar with Kant, we kind of have to start this out with Kant because he's kind of the starter of this whole thing. Kant basically thought that there are two different realities. You have actual reality, which is objective reality, or reality as it actually exists, and you have empirical reality, or subjective reality. Now, Kant thought that when you try to perceive actual reality or objective reality, it gets filtered through your subjective senses and your subjective minds, and then that produces the empirical subjective reality that you live in. So Kant thought that there was kind of a permanent disconnect between empirical reality and absolute or actual reality. So basically Kant thought that we couldn't find out anything about absolute reality or actual reality because it would always be corrupted by the mind. Now, on to Hegel. Hegel completely disagrees with this, and he kind of maps out a solution to Kant's problem that he presents. Basically, what he's trying to do, he's trying to figure out a method. He's trying to figure out a method for gaining knowledge about actual reality. And this is his method. So basically, Hegel thought that what we can do is we can take our fragments of actual reality, right? We can take our fragments of actual reality that appear in empirical reality. And, obviously there must be fragments of empirical reality, fragments of actual reality or reality as it actually exists contained within empirical reality, right? Because otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to base, your subjective reality off of or your subjective senses, right? So there must be kind of a, fragment or a piece of empirical reality that is actually objective and actually a part of real, objective, actual reality. Now, Hegel thought that what we can do is we can take an empirical object or a subjective object, and we can determine what part of that objective object is actual. And with this knowledge, we can combine this with concepts. Now, concepts to Hegel that's like knowledge that's certainly true. So, for example, all squares have four sides, that's certainly true because, by definition, squares have four sides. And that's an example of a concept. So basically, Hegel thought that you can take this part of actual reality that's contained within the empirical subjective object and combine it with the certain knowledge contained within the concept. And you can combine these two together to get a notion of real reality or actual reality as it exists, right? Now, there's kind of an interesting development from this. Hegel thought that since subjectivity and objectivity are completely opposite to each other, completely different, Hegel thought that objective reality or actual reality must therefore be the complete opposite of empirical reality. So basically what Hegel means by this is he says that everything you perceive in empirical reality, the opposite of it is actually true or is actually objective. So like, let's see, for example, I have this envelope right here. Now I'm perceiving that as white, but in actual reality, in reality as it actually exists, it would be the opposite of white, which is black, obviously. Now Hegel thought that, okay, there's kind of a contradiction here, because how can these two worlds exist that are completely opposite to each other, in unity, Because now that we perceive both of the worlds, they're kind of lumped together, but they're also opposites. They contradict each other. So how is this contradiction resolved? And Hegel basically thought that when we try to lump these two worlds into an object, obviously a contradiction is going to emerge. But if you try to lump it into a category instead of an object, it would work. The two things wouldn't contradict each other, but they would kind of, respect each other mutually, respect each other's existence.
Coincide with each other, yeah.
Yeah. And specifically, he thought that this category that these two worlds could be considered under is the category of infinity. And he also came to the conclusion that this category of infinity is what spirit is, or what Hegel calls the absolute. And we'll come to find later that the absolute is the same thing as mind, but that's a story for a different day. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know this was kind of a longer video, but I think it was pretty substanceful. So thank you for watching if you made it this far.
For the ones that have no idea of Hegel or Kant was a philosopher. Well, they were both were philosophers born in Germany. Hegel was in the late 1700, early 1800, and Kant was in the 1700. In my point of view, Hegel was a lot more complicated than Kant, but that's my point of view. With that, thank you for watching.
Thank you.